what's up, folks? Welcome back to On Texas Football, and welcome back to our Sunday night live stream. I'm Lifetime Longhorn Rod Davis. Pleased to be joined by the estimable, the one and only Jerry Hamilton. We got a lot to get into on the show. The NFL Combine, of course, wrapping up. We'll talk about the Longhorns who all participated in the Combine. I guess not all of them participated. We'll talk about who increased their draft stock the most, and also take your questions and comments about the NFL Combine. Also, Super Chats jump to the front of the line. You can interrupt the show at any time. A really, what's the way to describe it? Victorious weekend on the 40 acres for a lot of other sports. So we got to get into that too, Jerry, because there's a lot of momentum on the 40 acres right now for a few sports. We'll get to that. Also, we'll dive into some other kind of macro conversation, but the show belongs to you. Whatever you guys want to talk about, throw it out there. We'll try to address as many of those as we can. Super Chats always jump to the front of the line. Like I said, you can interrupt the show anytime. All right, Jerry, let's start with the NFL Combine, and then we'll dive into some of the other topics. I know the Texas men's basketball, big win. Baseball continues to roll. We got to talk about all those things a little bit too. But the NFL Combine, I thought the Longhorns overall represented really well at the NFL Combine. Who do you think increased their draft stock the most in your eyes? You can pick more than one. This ain't just a one. You can go down a list. I want to see if you got the same. I'll tell you how many guys I got on my list that I think definitely increased their draft stock. I believe right now I got 3 that I say definitely increased the draft stock. I put money on it.
I think Anthony Hill is 1.
That's 1.
I would think Malik Muhammad is 2.
That's 2.
And the third is, I think we may be a little different. I don't know how DJ Campbell ended the day. He came in with better arm length.
Mm-hmm.
I think bigger hands, ran pretty well, tested pretty well. That's not your third though. Who's your third?
Strange is Trey Moore for me.
Oh, that's a great one.
I think I still think Trey Moore is going to be a situational sub-package pass rusher in the league. That's kind of what they have him. But a lot of teams are building their defenses around multiplicity and hybrid players now. That's no longer taboo, if you will. So I do think him being a natural pass rusher, showing off versatility, and showing he's got some freaky traits. This combine is about you. Now, some guys, if you're a Sonny Styles, or the whole Styles family, man, was the dad there? Because they put on a damn show.
That looks like you test well.
Right, exactly. Was that a real picture of the dad?
I don't know, but he would hold his kids up like this, I bet, and walk them around.
He looks like Incredible Hulk. I'm like, this seems like that might be AI or something. I want to see the real dad. Either way, I think Ohio State probably won the combine. Just a little sidebar, right?
Yes,
every
year
school wins. Texas won it 1 year too recently when Xavier Worthy set the record for the 40-yard dash. I think Ohio State probably won it this year with all things said. But anyway, getting back to it, I think ultimately, I think Trey Moore is one of the guys that I think increased his draft stock. Where was it initially? That's probably hard to say. He's probably late round pick.
Free agent.
Yeah, but I just think what you have to do is show off some tools or traits, Jerry, that force some scout to go back to the field. Force guy to go, whoa, that didn't it matched up with the film, but that was better than I thought.
Yeah.
And then they'll go back to the film. Now, sometimes they do that because they don't like the way some of your metrics, it doesn't match up with your film sometimes. But I think overall, I put Trey Moore in my category.
Yeah, I agree. And thinking about it, I think you're right, Rod. I really do. I don't know if DJ Campbell's numbers have come in yet. He was off to a good start. But, yeah, I agree on Trey Moore. And what it's going to do, it's going to make them look back at his junior season as a pass rusher.
Yep, exactly. Boom.
That's what it's going to do. It's going to make those guys go do a double take and watch his junior season as a pass rusher again, especially the second half of the season after he adjusted to major college football and SEC football. Yep. Because his last half of his junior year, I think, showed what he could really do. Then this year, obviously, I think Texas played to help those guys become more well-rounded linebackers, Anthony Hill and Trey Moore, and it took away from their strengths as players, quite honestly.
Oh, I totally agree with that. For both of those guys, glad you bring it up. Considering how close some of their measurables were. A little closer than I thought for Trey Moore and Anthony Hill, both of those guys with the ability to play on the edge. Getting back to Anthony Hill, DJ Campbell stuff. Here it is. Here you go, Jerry.
DJ Campbell, 6'3", 313, 34 and a quarter inch arms, good size for guard. He came in a legit 6'3" without shoes. I was wondering about that. hand size, 10 1/4 inch. That's about what I thought seeing him in high school. The 5 flat, 40, 176 split. They don't have his 3 cone and shuttles yet, but size wise, I think that was the big thing for DJ Campbell for me.
Yeah.
Was he legit 6'3" without shoes, and what was that arm length going to be? I think he helped himself a little bit in that regard today.
Have we seen many Texas players measure shorter than their listed height? Because Malik Muhammad was every bit of 6 foot.
Every bit of 6 foot,
listed, right?
Yeah.
Same thing with DJ. I'm going to go back through the recent.
And I think DJ is Rod. I think he kind of can trick you because he's so broad square. So he looks, you kind of say, okay, is he actually going to be legitimate 6'3" without shoes on?
Yeah.
He's one of those guys. And I can't remember what he did, what he got measured at Under Armour Combine, but I think he's grown maybe a smidge since high school. Because if I remember right, he was like 6'2" and 5'8", 6'2" and 7/8 in high school. But to be 6'3" flat is really good for him. Because I was worried if it was going to come in at 6'2" and a half, and then they ding you for everything. Everything.
Yeah, every little thing you get dinged for.
If it's armed for 33 1/4 instead of 34 and a half.
Yep. You get dinged for it. No, I was just wondering because I've seen the guys get measured and it seems like it's been pretty consistent with the listed height. Remember, I went to the combine and several teams I don't know if they were upset with me, but just called me out because my listed height was, I believe Mac might have had me listed at 5'10", 5'11", somewhere around there. That was not the height at the NFL Combine. It was 5'8 3/4. So as Jerry knows, hell, man, them 2 inches, a team will take you off their board, or at least drop you down from 2. I'm like, nah, we had him as a 4th round. You'll drop him down to 6th round because we don't like the height. That's just the way that their science works. So those, man, every inch counts. That's we all know. At the combine, it definitely counts. Ain't no question about that.
Hey, Rod, so I'm going to throw this out there to the chat. I talked with somebody today that was at the combine all week, and this person was around a lot of the representation for teams. And a lot of teams think the combine has become a little time fudgy or time hyped, set up for
TV.
Super duper fast times. And a lot of teams were using their own handhelds or their own times.
Yeah,
because I think a lot of people are saying, whoa. That are actually in these organizations say, whoa. We don't think this is – we think this is becoming a little made-for-TV event.
That actually has been a conspiracy. Now, it's not a loud one, but I remember this last season, folks talking about, some of the 40 don't match up with this time and that time. And I would say the NFL coaches and scouts, they've long time always had their own handheld watches. It was just thought that maybe it was no longer necessary. That it was kind of antiquated because now you got laser time. What are you doing? Your laser time can't be more accurate this time. And because now there is a dispute between the laser times that are being issued by the NFL for these 40-yard dashes at the combine and the ones that the coaches have. So I've heard this conspiracy theory. It is a conspiracy theory. Here's my, because I would jump out on the grassy knoll with anybody. But here's a reason why they are faster now, period. And this is actually a problem for the NFL. They got to figure it out. Guys, because now everybody does specialized testing for
100%.
Like you're an idiot if you're not doing it, right? And these guys, these coaches, they specifically coach you up on every combine drill. They even got former guys that used to run the drills, so they know exactly how they're going to run the drill. Like everything, it's down to a science. And so they got laser time too. They got their own laser time. And if you don't test well at something in practice, they tell you not to do it, not to participate in that at the combine. They tell you straight up, I wouldn't do the 3 cone. I wouldn't do that. If you perform something around average to below average in something, just keep working on it until you get to your pro day, or you may not do it at all. And so that's happened a couple of times too, where guys don't even end up doing some of those agility drills. And so I think now, because guys only test for things at the combine they're good at, because that's what they're advised to do, all the times are better.
Yeah.
All the times are really good. And you got less than a 50% participation rate now at the combine, guys. for the it's 3 out of the last 5 years post COVID. You can make the argument COVID started killing the combine because you've had sub 50% participation rate in those drills and everything and all the testing. All right, 3 out of the last 5 years, and it just keeps on dropping.
Yeah.
And so I think that's their big issue. And so that adds to the conspiracy theory, Jerry, that maybe the NFL is trying to prop this thing up because guys don't want to plug participate.
It's going to be an old school Nike camp where everybody was running record times. I don't know. I'm going to throw one more chapter to that book from this week. There was a tight end that ran a super fast time, like better time than he's ever run. There was a wide receiver from his team that his agent said, don't run. And then the kid almost went against his agent because he was like, hold on, my teammate just ran a time that I know he can't run. I need to get out there and run now.
Oh, so you're saying all these fast times would also encourage other guys to want to get out there and run.
Well, because this teammate of this tight end was like, that guy doesn't run that time. He's never run that time.
Yeah.
He said, I'm faster than him, and I'm not running because somebody advised me not to run, and I'm watching all these guys break their own PRs.
Yeah. No, it is. Like I said, and you can make the argument, hey, training is just better. Evolution of human beings over time. All that, you can make the argument for all that kind of stuff. But there's also a conspiracy theory that the NFL might be cooking these times up a little bit because the 40-yard dash is the main event of the combine. Everybody knows. That will
get you millions and millions and hundreds of millions of views.
Yeah. That's
social media engagement.
Exactly.
And people will tune in to watch okay, by the way, I want to throw I know it's, look, he transferred from Texas to Oklahoma, then he ended up Mississippi. I want to give sometimes we need to give guys credit. Brennan Thompson, he ran 4.26. He didn't get the record.
He did.
But I want to say this. Good for him for sticking with it. Because Rod, he didn't play. He had 1 catch at Texas his freshman year. His sophomore year, I think he had 7 at Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. He finally got in double digits his 3rd year at Oklahoma. He battled some injuries. He battled injuries late in high school. He had a 10.22 was his PR in the 100 meters, but then was injured.
Yeah.
But he stuck with it. And it took him. He took a winding road to get there. But look, he went 1,000 yards at Mississippi State this week, and then he just put up a 4.26. So that for all the guys that are struggling early in their careers, they have to transfer. It doesn't work out of the school. Man, your book is not written after year 1 or year 2.
Yep.
Sometimes it's health. Sometimes things don't work out. Sometimes you get your dauber down. You got to keep going. Mm-hmm. And, even though he transferred from Texas and a lot was made of him playing at Oklahoma, transferring to Oklahoma, I want to give the kid credit for sticking with it because to go from where he did 1 catch, I think 7 to maybe 19 for 250 or something. Then they go for 1,000 yards his final year in college, and then they go put up 4.26. Kind of reminded you of the 10.22 in high school.
Yeah, that's
kudos to him. So guys that are watching, man, it's not over after a year or 2 for you guys.
Yeah,
that's all we say, Rod, all the time. Players just transferred out of Texas that will end up in the NFL Combine, and it happens at Ohio State. It happens at all these major programs because everybody can't play, and that doesn't mean guys that transfer out aren't really good players or going to end up being really good players.
Yeah, no, it's good stuff. Good message. All right, I know we got some questions. We'll get to those as well. I see a couple of things I want to address in the chat, and we'll also dive into more discussion about the NFL Combine. But first, let's thank our lead sponsor of the evening, our friends over at Rogue Shop. We appreciate them. Rogue Shop bringing real plant medicine back to its roots. Rogue Shop ships nationwide, so no matter where you are in this great country of ours, our friends at Rogue Shop can get their fantastic products to you ASAP. Also, you can use that discount code you see it right there on your screen on Texas, and you'll get a very special discount from our very special friends over at Rogue Shop. They have it all from oils and creams, flour and gummies. Go check them out at rogueshop.com. And like I said, they ship nationwide. So if you're dealing with sleep deprivation, anxiety, maybe it's just aches and pains from battling Father Time, our friends over at Rogue Shop, they have so many fantastic products that can help you overcome those ailments successfully. So go check out rogueshop.com to see which one works for you. Use that discount code on Texas. Don't forget about that. Thank you very much to our friends over at Rogue Shop. I see Manny wants to know, how did Michael Taaffe do? He ran a 4.5 flat, right? That was his.
He needed it because his arms are really short. He needed that test well.
Yeah, you're right.
But 29 and a quarter, when you show up at 29 and a quarter as a safety, that's not ideal.
Yeah.
That's not ideal because people are going to say you're going to struggle tackling at the next level.
Mm-hmm.
So 158 split, but came in at 190 pounds, which I thought was good for him because when you see him in person, you kind of say, is he big enough? Is he going to be able to carry enough on his frame? But he tested really well in terms of the 40, which I think he needed to do. He had to put up something from a testing perspective to overcome that arm length.
Yeah, no, you're right. I thought 4.5 flat was a good time for him.
Yeah.
I mean, you're bordering on breaking into the 4.4 there, so I thought that was good. I think his 10-yard split was like 9th among safeties. I think his 40 was like the 11th or something like that, which is not bad. That's what he needed to show, was that he wasn't slow.
Yeah.
And like you said, I mean, obviously he can't control the arm length and the wingspan. But I think the biggest question was how explosive and what kind of straight line speed does he have? And I'm not sure if Taaffe, like I said, I got to look up his individual numbers. I'm not sure if he participated in it. Oh, there you go. Yeah, so he didn't do everything. That's what I thought. Because I was like, I tried to look up the numbers, and all I got was the 10-yard split in the 40. So he didn't do much else, which I get. I mean, his agent told him the one thing they want to see from you, bro. They want to see if you can run sub 06.
And if he ran a good 40, he probably wiped the rest of it out. Said no need to.
Yeah. I think that's what he's like. You know what? That 4.5, that's good. That's exactly. If you actually, I think he did. He probably ran faster than a lot of folks expected. It's like, nah, shut it down, because what you don't want to do is run a slow time after that. Yeah. After that first one. All right. So Michael Taaffe. I don't know if Michael Taaffe is going to increase his draft stock. He just had to get to the point where he has very few liabilities in his skill set, right? Because they're trying to pick it apart. And speed was definitely going to be one of those. But now it may turn into length, to Jerry's point. Now it'll be like, hey, I don't know if he has the length, the wingspan to tackle those guys. All right. Good stuff there. Appreciate that. All right. Let's get to we got a couple of questions here. How about this one from Antoine? Says 27 O-line targets: Brian Swanson, Ismail Kamara, and Kennedy Brown. How are they prioritizing these guys?
Well, I think you got the order. I think Kennedy Brown's a maybe tackle, maybe guard, but Kennedy Brown's had some injury issues. He's got to get healthy. He had a Liz Frank injury this year, which is a tough one for a big man at a young age. And I'm not saying he's in jeopardy about playing, but he needs some healthy time there. That's something you watch with that injury. Kamara's an athletic freak, young in football compared to everybody else. Brian Swanson was the first guy Texas offered in 27 on the offensive line. I think there's other guys. Jimmy Callis from Pittsburgh, I think, is right there with behind Swanson, Kamara. Demarion Johnson from Tyler Legacy, the A&M commit. If he ever opened up his recruitment and really gave Texas a true chance in meeting a June official visit or something, he'd be a top 3 guy for Texas. He's tremendous in pass pro.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you for the question, Antoine. We appreciate that. Before we get to shout out to a couple other sports, I wanted to get back to Anthony Hill really quickly, because now after watching those Ohio State guys, after watching Sonny Styles and Arvell Reese, it was nothing Anthony Hill could have done to catapult himself ahead of those two guys as just freakish athletes, that are designated linebackers or whatever you want to call it, Arvell Reese. So I think what he did, and by the way, his RAS, some people don't care about the RAS, some people do, the relative athletic score, second best among linebackers, behind Sonny Styles.
Yeah.
So his relative athletic score was behind Sonny Styles, who was the best performer at the NFL Combine, period. You can make the argument. But for a linebacker, I feel like Anthony Hill's freakish athleticism has just got overshadowed because freak show happening. But the relative athletic score would indicate, oh, no, this guy is toolsy for a linebacker. So
no, I agree. I think he helped him. I think he solidified himself as a guy that can go in the first round, and he may have solidified himself as a first round pick. Is what he may have done. Because I do think he was on that bubble coming in, right? So if he had a bad testing day, or not even bad, if his first 40 was 4.59, If he had run 4.59 and 4.60,
yeah,
and he had vertical 35 and then 19 reps, broad jump 10.3, then you're talking about, okay, now there's a reason that if he slides, the slide starts to the second round. But I think he helped himself in a big way from a testing standpoint. And by the way, arm length, pretty good. Hand size, 9.58, good. What you didn't want to do as a 6'2", 235-pound linebacker show up with a 9-inch hand. You needed to be closer to 10. Okay, you needed to all make sense.
Yep. And to your point, I don't know where they're going to get drafted, but Sonny Styles and he's going to be off the board relatively high. I'm talking about, I don't think they make it out of the top 10, right? I mean, no way.
I haven't been on an Ohio State message board. I was traveling a lot, but I can only imagine all the threads on Ohio State message boards are, how did we lose a game?
Right. That's a good point. I agree.
We got Jeremiah Smith, all the offensive linemen. We had running backs. How did we lose a game?
No, you won the combine. That's for sure. I mean,
hey, by the way, you know who's taken some? Is Caleb Downs. Matt, can we bring up Caleb Downs?
Yeah. I think people expected him to be a freakish athlete, and I don't necessarily think that's the case. He's just a really good football player.
And physical as all hell on contact.
Right? I just think that's what it is. And people expect, he's going to be a freak too. But it's like, no. The freakishness is actually up here with him and how quickly he processes things. And and so I'm not shocked by that. Because who had one of the, we talk about RAS scores or relative athletic score and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I want to say Earl Thomas had one of the lowest.
Yeah. So I think people thought he was going to have longer arms.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, look, 9.5 inch hand. Nobody, I think the 30 1/4, people have been talking about that,
Yeah.
But this is what happens when remember Derek Johnson, when he came out, what did they say? He couldn't play physical against the run.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that, Rod? That's what people were saying about Derek Johnson because he was so athletic. He just ran around blockers his whole college career.
Exactly right.
And all he did was have 500 tackles and create 50 turnovers, probably. I mean, I'm exaggerating, having fun, guys. But the same thing's happening with Caleb Downs. This is going to be Kevin Durant couldn't bench 185 pounds. All right, well, 33,000 points later. What are y'all saying about that? I mean, so Caleb Downs is a hellacious football player.
Didn't this happen with Kyle Hamilton too? It happens with safeties, I feel like.
Yeah.
Where, he's like, because it's a non-premium position, so you'll let, I think Ed Reed had like a 6.5 RAS, which is their relative athletic score. We just talked about Anthony Hill at 9 point something, right? To show his a relative athletic score. And I just told you Earl Thomas was really low. I think he was like in 5s or something crazy. It happens at safety.
Yeah.
Where I can't really explain it, but I saw it happen with Kyle Hamilton too. I'm like, hold on, y'all need to go watch the film. I know the measurables and the metrics, the testing is important, but because those are guys where the measurables and the testing didn't match the film because the film was so damn good. They're expecting those guys to be freakish testers too. It's like, no, they're not. They're just really good football players, man.
You know who it's going to happen with next year? Rasheem Biles. Off his height, off his weight, without knowing his wingspan and hand size. But there's going to be people say, he's 6'1 1/4, he's 217.
Yep.
And I'm just going to be like, all right. All right. Dude's a hell of a football player. That's all I know.
Okay, somebody's going to get a steal. And like I said, somebody will get a steal. All right. But my initial point was those two Ohio State guys, they're all going really early at linebacker. To your point, maybe Anthony Hill does slide into the back of that first round. So that would be great, too. Those are usually like playoff teams.
Yes.
And that guy could walk in and be a rotational player for you and then become a starter. All right. There you go. So that's, we can talk more about the combine, but I think for me, those are the main guys that I think increased their draft stock. Anthony Hill, Malik Muhammad, no doubt. Malik Muhammad, is he a second round guy now? That's the question. He's a top 10 corner in my opinion now, but I don't know when the run on corners is happening.
Yeah.
Will there be a run in the first round, second round? That'll help him. If, we got 4 corners getting drafted each round, or is it 5 corners that are going those rounds? Right. That I don't know. So I think right now he's a top 10 corner, but that could put him in the second. That could put him in the third.
Yeah,
I don't think he's there in the fourth with the way he tested. I think he's
and he was really good in Senior Bowl practices too.
He was.
He got the corner of the week on the team he was on. And the rest of those guys with the combine too, I believe.
And they said he was good in press. Like they were impressed with his press. No pun intended there. And like I said, I gave the metrics earlier in this, as you know, this season. Actually, this is his career. He was better actually in man coverage than he was in zone coverage. His ball hawk rate was higher in man coverage. He was at 25% ball hawk rate in man coverage. That would have put him top 10 among the top corners coming out this season. His passer rating allowed, 6th best among the corners coming out in man coverage. So that's, if you go look at his yards allowed per coverage snap, 3rd best in this class in man coverage. In zone, he drops to 17th in ball hawk rate, basically out of 24 corners, and he drops to 14th in passer rating allowed in zone coverage. So he could do both. I mean, I'm not saying he's just a bad zone coverage defender, but he seems to excel in man coverage. And I think in the league, a team that drafts him will do that more. Whatever.
Probably the reason Nick Saban fought hard for him in the high school.
That's it. That's Jerry knows. I like that. It's a good point. And what did Nick Saban once say? The greatest coverage in the history of football is man coverage. So when he said the problem is not everybody's got the athletes to be able to match up and just play man coverage. Otherwise, you're just gonna get toasted out there. But he said if I could ideally do it, I could recruit and he did for a while, the best athletes in the country. We just gonna play man coverage. And hell, Bama did it for a while. Steve Sarkisian knew that too. That's why he lit him up.
Yeah.
All right. Let's. I want to ask you about the other sports here. I know we'll get back to football, but a lot of momentum on the 40 acres this weekend, Jerry. And shout out to. I mean, we can talk about baseball because baseball had a big weekend. Women's basketball. Here's John Bianco had a great tweet. Shout out to my man Matthew, brings it up. He says 5-0 Sunday caps a perfect 13-0 weekend for Texas. Softball 4-0 with 17 straight wins. Baseball 3-0, 11-0 on the season. Women's basketball, they beat Alabama. That was what was it?
72-65, 73-65.
Thank you for that, Jerry. Men's basketball, big win over the Aggies. Always good to whip the Aggies. Leaves a satisfying feeling with the Longhorn fan base. And men's and women's tennis combined for 4 SEC wins as well. So a lot of momentum on the 40 acres. Which one of those sports you think got the most momentum right now? Is it basketball, men's basketball? We talk it's.
Well, I think, look, anytime somebody throws a no-hitter, they got to get realized. I mean, Tegan Cavan's 2nd career no-hitter today. So that's moves to the top of the list. I don't care who you're playing. That moves to the top of the list. Baseball's rolling. They haven't played a ranked top 25 ranked team yet, but they're still rolling. There's signs like the Baylor coach talked about how deep their pitching staff was and how impressive their pitching staff was. And that's a guy that knows Texas baseball pretty well. So that was a great compliment. Obviously, Texas guys are swinging bats, hitting the ball, and Tenney is not even really going yet. He'll catch a hot streak. Not everybody can be hot at the same time. When he gets hot, somebody else won't be. It's kind of like basketball and the other sports. Is not everybody's going to shoot it well the same nights and the same games. So they're scoring a lot of runs. They're hitting the ball all over the place. Aiden Robbins is on fire. And Tenney has 3 homers, but I think he's only hitting 240-ish right now, which he's going to get it going. As the season moves along, more to where people think he should be. So women in contention for that number 1 seed. That was a huge win. You can't afford an upset. And Alabama was ranked 24, but that still would have been a major upset when you're fighting for a 1 seed. Men's basketball won at A&M. They were a 3.5-point dog in that game, more than they were when they went to Missouri. And the 2 early foul calls, the one on Matos on a jump ball, I've never seen that in my life, I don't think. But huge win for A&M, for Texas over A&M on Saturday in basketball, because that was a huge – even though I don't think Texas was necessarily on the bubble, if you lost that game, you move to the play-in bubble, and that's not where you want to be when you go play Arkansas Wednesday and you still have the SEC tournament. So what that does is that gives Sean Miller and those guys a chance to win 10 SEC games in year 1. I think, look, Arkansas will be favored by a few in Fayetteville Wednesday. I wish that game was Tuesday, so Darius Acuff didn't have time to rest his not 100% ankle, but he gets the extra day. I'd have preferred that game be on Tuesday because he's a great player. But if you can win one of these next two, Oklahoma at home Saturday, then you get 10 SEC wins. Who would have thought that after you lost to Mississippi State in the opener and then at Tennessee? I was not thinking that. I kept thinking the Mississippi State game would come back to haunt Texas if it came down to it. But if they can win one of these last two, you get to 10-8. That's they're going to be solid 8-9. See, it's not where you want to be in the NCAA tournament because they'll probably throw you to Greenville and you'll play Duke in the second round if you get past the first. But or you'll go play UConn again or Michigan, right? It's going to be one of the three.
Yeah.
But I think Florida will end up being a 1 seed if they win at Kentucky this week, and then they won't throw Texas as an 8 or 9 if Texas is an 8 or 9 in with Florida. So it's going to be one of those three if you're on the 8-9 seed. It's not where you want to be, but I think year one getting to the tournament, because I've said all season it's not a given. Everybody just thinks, oh, you're going to go, but I've thrown the list down of many coaches that didn't go to the NCAA tournament their first year in the portal era. It's not a given. So if you can get there, it's a really good start.
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that. I think you've seen real time the turnaround, the transformation of that team. That is fun to watch when you get to watch a team, like I said, real time. Actually, things start evolving and they start embracing the new culture, embracing the coach's message, and even his press conferences changed because he was, I would say, very forthcoming and open with Longhorn fans. I think that he became a Longhorn favorite too among Texas fans for how honest he was about his team's performance. They know that about that. So Coach Miller doing a good job. All right, we'll get to. I got a question for you, Jerry, coming up about the Texas Pro Day. Now with obviously most of the Texas guys participating. That's one thing I like about Texas guys too. I just talked about, a lot of guys declining to participate in drills at the combine, below 50% participation rate. Texas guys, I mean, they don't do every drill because I think, sometimes they get an injury or whatever like that. But Texas guys don't try to big time the combine.
Yeah.
They always want to go show off at the combine. I'll give them that too.
Gilbo's the kind of the one that you scratch your head on, right?
I wasn't sure about. That's why I want to get into Pro Day, because for him, I mean, Pro Day is going to be everything. For him and Ethan Burke. That's what I said. Is there anybody else where Pro Day for them could actually be make or break? But maybe Cole Brevard or somebody like that or something like that. But Ethan Burke is it to me. Ethan Burke is the one he really could turn himself into a draft pick.
Oh, and he's going to be so motivated. Right?
He could turn himself into a draft pick.
He's going to be so motivated too.
He's going to be pumped. But he's going to look good because we always say that's the test he's going to pass. Because when they see Ethan Burke and how long and huge this guy is, that he's every bit, what is he, 6'5", 6'6", whatever it is.
I think he's legit 6'6", yeah.
Legit. I think that'll force teams to go, whoa, I didn't realize this guy was this mammoth. Like, he's huge. And he had a really good year, I thought. I thought he was your best. I didn't think he was your best run defender. He was third in the country, actually, in run stop rate, tied with Jacob Rodriguez. Like, he was really good against the run last season, and proved at times, hey, I can make splash plays, and I can be a pass rusher. I don't think he's a natural pass rusher. I think he got better at it. I think he will continue to get better at it when he gets to try in the league, because he's got all these raw tools, and he's so long. I mean, and he's strong. What's going to be
interesting about his process, Rod, is, like Tony Hills has talked about it. I don't know what they did in kind of looking back on you as a player, but Tony Hills talks about that they sent I don't know if it's I call it PI, but I mean a player investigator, right? To go ask about Tony Hill's elementary teacher about Tony in elementary school, right? That goes on. Well, if they go talk to Ethan Burke's lacrosse coach, it's his dad. That's going to be an interesting discussion. Like that, because his dad was a great lacrosse player. And Ethan Burke, one of the things the NFL is going to look back on with him and player investigate on him is, look, he was All-American lacrosse player. He's committed to, I believe, Michigan, right? Maybe even Maryland at one point in time. I mean, he's an elite lacrosse player. But now when they go do their due diligence, they got to talk to his dad, because his dad was the coach and ran the lacrosse program he always played in. You're not muted, but you lost your volume, Rod.
Oh, sorry. You're back. I think my cord came undone. I apologize about that, guys. I'm sure his dad will be there, right?
That has to be. I mean, I don't know who else they could interview about him.
No, I'm sure his dad will be at the pro day. I mean,
pro day. Oh yeah,
I bet he'll be there.
He follows our shows. We should get him on after the draft.
I don't think I've ever met him, but some tells me, Dad, I'll meet him there at the pro day. But I think Ethan Burke. I think he's gonna do well. Like I said, I think he looks the part, and I think he's gonna test well. Like you said, he's really determined, and I'm sure he's got a hell of a chip on his shoulder now. Not getting invited to the combine, I'm sure that hurt because he deserved it. He deserved to get invited to the combine, and they didn't invite him, and that hurt because he's nothing against Gilbo, but he deserved the invite over Gilbo. You know. I don't know how.
Hey, can I hit on a couple of questions real quick?
No, go ahead. Throw them out there.
All right. Antoine asked, he's got a couple of recruiting questions. Any news on Caleb Seiler from Gunner, who's visiting April 4th? Offensive tackle, really came on as a junior. He's up to like 23 offers, has a number of P4s that he picked up in January, February after the season. He's a guy Texas has taken a look at in that 27 class. He's really come up here since the end of the season. Antoine also asked, he asked a lot of good recruiting questions. Is Texas still recruiting any high school players? In basketball, if Texas took another high school player, it would be more of a non-NIL. If you want to be here, you can come develop here and we'll give you a shot because there's 15 scholarships. The only way Texas basketball would go on another high school guy that could be an impact player is if a coaching carousel created a opportunity through people getting fired and then that guy not following coach to new school or not staying with school he signed with. If something fell into Texas' lap more so than actively going to go after it. I think right now Austin Goosby's played it. He looks like a one and done to me, guys. If he makes perimeter shots next year in college, he's a one and done guy. He's playing the best ball of his career. Bo Ogden, I think he was looking really good. I think he had 29 and 15 in the playoffs Friday. He's having a really good season. Joe Sterling is a developmental guy who can shoot the heck out of it. Got player of the year in his California division. I think they're still in the playoffs. I think he went off the other night. And then Coleman Elkins is 6'10 developmental big. It would be somebody like a Coleman Elkins if they did. I think they brought in the 6'7 forward from Cy Falls on an unofficial. So it could be somebody like that if they went down that path, but not likely. And then Antoine, I want to answer this one because there's some news on this. Just because I just know enough people in the years in this business. Jerry, are you picking Seven Lakes or Atascocita basketball game Tuesday? Seven Lakes is 35-0, and some maybe ranked 1 or 2 in America, even though they wouldn't beat Dynamic or somebody like that. I don't think. Atascocita, tremendous team. They had a horrible injury early in the season. Their 6'7 shooter dislocated his elbow. He came back a few weeks ago. But Seven Lakes, Nasir Price, their really good guard, may have hurt his elbow Friday night. He may be out. If he's out, that changes things for Seven Lakes. He is a Division I signing, one of their 3 or 4 D1 players. But Nasir Price hurt his elbow Friday. We'll see if he can go in the playoffs Tuesday. It's a big game.
What did you say? The record?
I think they're 35-0, 34, 35-0 right now.
Damn.
Yeah, they're really good. But Nasir Price, a really good player.
That's absurd. That's crazy. Shout out to CB because CB's always dropping on nuggets for us. Yes, congrats to Schloss on 1,000 career wins. That's a great achievement. So shout out to Schloss for that one. And he said, I missed the start of the show, but welcome to OTF Hank South. Yes. Yeah. We also should take the time to welcome the new member of the OTF family, Hank South, because we're trying to grow and really trying to make the product better. That's it. Yeah. That's our only goal. Every meeting is about, man, how do we make this thing better? How do we make it for you guys? All right. How do we make it overall a better product? And Hank South was a no-brainer. Like it was, yeah.
And he's gonna join Coffee and Football for a few minutes in the morning for people that don't know him, so he'll introduce himself. Sandman wants a call-in show. That's scary.
Oh man,
I think producer Matt would love to do one of those.
I want to say, did we
tried one?
I think we tried it at one point, or at least experimented. I swear I remember this. It could be my CTE, but I swear I remember us trying it and then we couldn't get it to work right.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Yeah.
I thought we tried it because Matthew will try any damn thing. But I think ultimately we couldn't get it to work. Like it was always technical difficulties. But I'm not opposed to that. I'm from the radio world. All right. When I first got in radio, it still call in. It's like you just call in. You just call in, and people would wait on the phone till you got to them, and you were like, "Hey, what's up? What you want to talk about?" Boom, they would talk about something. So that's the world I'm from. I don't mind it.
I have to prank call in that show.
Oh, it made us. We were very vulnerable to the prank call, Jerry, because
I'd be calling in as Sandman 0023, and who knows what I would say.
Yeah, exactly. Also, shout out to, like I said, shout out to Hank South for being part of the team as well. And I didn't want to hit this too early in the show, obviously, because I know it's a very touchy subject, and I know it's one that's really sad and depressing. Honestly, there was a shooting in Austin this past weekend, so thoughts and prayers for those. It was shooting downtown in Austin. A couple of actually 3 deaths, several folks who had to be taken to the hospital. So on a more somber note, I want to wish those families the best, and obviously keep them in your prayers, keep them in your thoughts. This is devastating. I mean, I live in Austin. A lot of you folks, y'all live in Austin, or you've been in Austin. Nobody wants to think about that stuff happening in their community. So sad stuff. So want to throw that out there too. All right, let's one of the things I wanted to bring up, Jerry, while we got some time here, because somebody asked me this, and they were like, which one of the 3 major sports is going to win a title first? And I thought to myself, I want to say football, but Schloss is that would be disrespectful to Schloss, I feel like.
Yeah.
At this point.
Well, I mean, look,
Sean Miller's just behind, so that's not. He's
obviously third. Texas has never won one, so you actually got to knock on the door a couple of times first. And that's no knock on Sean Miller. I think if Sean Miller has the NIL capabilities, I think he'll get Texas to the Elite Eights. Then you see what happens. A couple of Elite Eights, and you see what happens after that. He's that level coach. I think baseball.
I know.
I think football's harder with the playoffs now. It's harder. Yeah. It's harder with the playoffs. I mean, does anybody think Nick Saban would have won 7 titles in a college football playoff in his career? Probably 5, right? You probably get, if you have to win 3 or 4 games every year.
That against good teams. Yeah. It's just tough to do.
You probably get upset at some point.
Yeah.
You may lose in another semifinal at some point in a toss-up game. Maybe somebody got hurt.
Yeah.
In a first-round game. Odds are he probably would have 5 instead of 7. It's harder to win it now. It just is.
Mm-hmm.
Look at Ryan Day. Look at the team just worked out at the combine.
That's absurd. That is upstate. They should definitely have made a deeper playoff run. Yeah. That's a ton of talent. And they're gonna be losing a lot of it. I know they bring back a ton of talent, but goodness, they were loaded this past year. Freaks all across the board. I said the same thing too. I was like, I feel like
basketball's the hardest to win. You got to win 6 games.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to win 6.
Yeah. No,
it's freaking hard to do.
It is. Like I said, I'm with you on the playoff thing, man. That's hard to beat that many good teams. That many weeks in a row.
And the other thing I want to say about basketball, Rod, is we've now entered an era where number 1 seeds are getting knocked off or close to knocked off. So college basketball is a totally different animal than it was 12 years ago. 12 years ago.
Yeah. Right. Everything seems like a different animal than it was 10, 12 years ago in college sports. It all feels like it's a different animal. No doubt about that. All right. Let's thank our lead sponsor one more time. Let's thank our friends over at Rogue Shop. And we'll answer a couple more questions on tonight's live stream. Thank you to our friends at Rogue Shop. They have it all from oils and creams to flour, gummies, and vitamins. No matter what you're dealing with, maybe it's sleep deprivation, maybe it's adrenal aches and pains, maybe for you it's anxiety that is something you struggle with. Go check out rogueshop.com. Use that discount code now on Texas, and you can find a variety of different items. Like I said, they have oils and creams, flour, gummies, and vitamins that will help you overcome some of those ailments successfully or battle them successfully. Go to rogueshop.com. They ship nationwide, no matter where you are in this great country of ours. Our friends over at Rogue Shop, they can get their fantastic products to you. So check them out, rogueshop.com. And thank you very much to our friends over at Rogue Shop for sponsoring our Sunday night live stream. We appreciate them. All right. I see a couple of my man DKW. Always good to hear DKW here in the chat. Says Ed Mayo Hamilton, Max McKinnon from LSU is a senior. and to me is a very polished offensive player. He is 6'6", 195. How would you compare Bo Ogden to McKinnon? I think they are somewhat similar.
It's not a bad comparison. I think there's a lot of similarities. I think Max McKinnon is super smart as an offensive basketball player, understands spacing, creating space, how to rub off defenders without even screening. He is a super smart offensive basketball player. Bo Ogden has that same level of smarts. For Texas fans, if Bo Ogden ends up being as good as the Max McKinnon that played against Texas, I'm not saying 26 a night. We're talking about realistic stuff here. But if he ends up being that level player, then he's going to be a hell of a player at Texas. Bo can really shoot the basketball now. He's the best shooter on the team the second he walks in. That doesn't mean he's shooting 41% from three as a freshman, but his reputation will carry, and people will absolutely have to guard him at the college level before he ever makes a three. He'll be in game. All those guys scout all these guys. He'll be in game plans before he ever plays a minute at Texas because of how well he shoots the ball. They've all seen it.
Well, all right. Thank you for that question, DKW. Always love your input and insight. We appreciate that. Something else that I wanted to ask you about, Jerry, here, because we were talking about this earlier this week, I should say. Last week, it's Sunday. CJ had the report that with Arch Manning getting out of the boot, they're going to be very cautious with him during the spring. No need to put too much on him and let him just fully recover. And it's going to be a KJ Lacey kind of focused spring. And, they're going to get him just basically get him comfortable enough where he can work with the ones, get opportunities to learn the offense, get comfortable with the offense. What's going to be the biggest struggle for him, or the biggest hurdle to overcome? Not struggle, because he doesn't struggle. He's kind of a natural at quarterback. Yeah. That's the beautiful thing about him. What's his big hurdle to overcome this spring? If they're going to make it about him, what does he have to achieve to earn the trust of the coaches that, hey, something happens, KJ he's fine, and he'll be able to drive the bus for us, and we can still win with this guy?
I think in my opinion, just my opinion, and I went to Saraland 2 or 3 times to see him, so I kind of have a feel for his personality. He's an ultra competitive human, and that's why he's gotten to where he is, because he's not the biggest guy, right? But he's also a really good study. He learns. I think the biggest thing is to play within himself and not try to do too much which young players do and young quarterbacks can do.
Yeah,
because he knows he's got Diabell behind him. So this is a chance to create separation, because if he's the number 2 guy, he's a play away this year, right? And he's going to be the number 2 guy. But the one thing he can't do is try to do too much. He's just got to be himself, because him being himself last spring got him ahead of Trey Owens pretty quickly.
Quick, very fast.
So all he needs to do is keep being, and I'm sure that's what Sark and those guys are telling him, just keep being who you are, because who you are has already gotten you to this point. Just don't try to do too much. Because when you try to do too much, what happens? The interception pops up.
Mm-hmm.
The fumble, trying to stay in bounds instead of going out of bounds, comes into play.
Yeah.
As a quarterback, you have to be very mindful of that. So if he just is he's been coached really well by David Morse at QB Country, and his head coach at Saraland, played in the NFL and CFL as a quarterback, was all world at Southern Miss. He's been coached up really well. I think just being around him, I think the game is slow around him, because he's a former point guard and quarterback. So he's used to being in very fast-moving peripheral situations his whole athletic career. So I think the game and everything moves slow in his peripheral naturally from growing up as a point guard and quarterback. So just keep being who you are, because he really impressed people. I think, they did a lot of concepts at Saraland that Sark does at Texas.
Okay.
David Morse, his QB instructor of QB Country, also trained Arch Manning. So he's already implemented some of those things, because he's so tight with Sark and Milwee in their final year, kind of getting them ready for Texas. So he came in ahead of the game already. Now you just got to be yourself. Just let it happen.
Yeah.
And I think he's been pretty good about that so far from what I hear.
No, like I said, that sounds like everything that I've heard, that he's natural. He's a natural throw of the football, that he does have that it quality. The ball moves when he's in there commanding the offense.
Yeah.
All good things. Just wanted, because now it's just to already say he's the second string guy already, so he's not winning a job, right? It's pretty much his job. It's just about him now to earn the trust of the coaches and grow his confidence as a player. That's what this spring is basically about. We want you to come out this spring confident than ever about your abilities to go in there if something, knock on wood, if something happens. And we also want you to earn the trust of the coaches that the coaches aren't stressed about. They don't feel like he could be a liability if he goes in there. No. Yeah, so I think it's a very interesting thing to watch this spring is that his growth as a player, because they're going to empower him. That's what this is about, like empower him. Yeah. Work with the ones. He's going to get a lot of reps in practice. I imagine actually Arch probably will be coaching him up a lot too, because he'll be getting more reps or as many reps as Arch is, I'm assuming, in spring. All right, good stuff there, Jerry. Appreciate the breakdown. All right, for those who joined us late, I apologize about that. We started early, and we will be starting the prime PM live streams at 7 now. I know we started them at 7:15, 7:20, a little bit later, and then they go later. And I know some of you guys out there, y'all got stuff to do, guys and gals. So we'll be starting all of our PM live streams, just a little reminder, at 7 p.m. Now, so whether it's Monday, the late winning drive, or on Thursday, that'll start at 7 p.m. You're talking about Tuesday, Wednesdays, they'll start at 7 p.m. too. So that's going to be our new thing. We try to make sure that we start a little bit early so that we kind of end those things before it gets too late. All right. So we appreciate all you guys. We know we started up a little bit early today, but if you missed any part of it, just kind of go back and check it out. If we missed any of your questions, we apologize about that. Direct them to the gentleman at Coffee and Football, bright and early tomorrow morning. Jerry Hamilton will be one of those gentlemen, as well as Bobby Burton, as well at 8:15, bright and early tomorrow morning. And also we'll have your primetime winning drive on Monday as well with myself, CJ Vogel, Coach Bob Shipley. That'll start at 7. Like I said, 7. All right, getting that thing started early. But thank you guys for all your participation and the questions. Like I said, if we missed any of them, we apologize. Just direct them to either one of those live streams tomorrow. For Jerry and for Matthew, I'm Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers. Until next time, Hook 'em Horns.